Unpopular opinion, not everything on social media is fake. I don't know if this became like a coping mechanism to make people feel better or what, but there's people who actually got it like that. There's people who actually are not just living off credit cards. There's women with killer bodies who had no work done. There's beautiful women in real life who don't need a filter or a Photoshop. I just feel like this take does more harm than anything. Now when you see somebody post, in your mind, they look happy, but you're like, but they're not really happy. But what if they are though? Oh, they just got a new car. Oh, but they ain't really got it like that though. Well, what if they do though? Like, now I do think that everyone is facing their own battles and their own struggles in life, and you never know what people are going through. Yes, but that doesn't mean no one is happy. Like, focus on self. Focus on self instead of trying to compare your life to others. Instead of trying to convince yourself that everything is a facade to make yourself feel better.
First of all, she has some really pretty hair. I used to wear weaves and wigs, so I know how weaves and wigs looks. That ain't no weave or no wig. That's her real hair. She has some really pretty hair. But I would like to talk about this a little bit because she made a good point. You know, people are always talking about how the internet really is an illusion. You know, a lot of people get on here and they be fake pumping for real. A lot of people get on here, pretend they got more money than they have, pretend they are in a happier relationship than they are, etc., 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 right? So she brought up the fact that, I mean, some people on the internet really are not out here basically lying, okay? Some people are really happy. You know, they're really about whatever life they're portraying. Whether it's, oh, you know, they have a nice home, they make a lot of money, they yada, yada, yada. There really are some people on the internet who, you know, are about what they're posting, right? But I want to add a little bit more nuance to this. Now, she is right. There really are some people on the internet who really are about whatever they say they are about, right? But I'm going to tell you right now, that's the vast minority of people. A good 90% of folks are on the internet straight capping, bro. Like, let me tell you an example, right? So this guy posted a video on TikTok. Apparently, he is a school bus driver, right? And he posted like, oh, like, you know, apparently when he picks the kids up, drops them off at the event, you know, say he takes them to CJ Barrymore, you know, they're going to be there 6 hours. He just sits there waiting on them for 6 hours. Apparently he gets paid, right? So he posted on TikTok about this, like, oh, I'm about to take a nap and get paid while I'm waiting on the kids to go into the amusement park, yada, 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 right? So somebody commented and they were like, okay, but you're making a bus driver's salary, so you're really not getting paid much, right? So the bus driver responded to this guy and he was like, I make $64,000 a year. So, you know, like, I'm doing pretty good. So then the person gonna respond to the bus driver like, yeah, that's really not a lot of money. Like, be for real, bro. If you are single making $64,000 a year, you living pretty comfortably. That's the honest to God truth. Then factor in the fact that he only works part of the year. Cause, you know, like, they're off during the summer and got all these breaks and stuff. So he getting paid $64,000 a year and he not even working the whole year. He only working like 8 months for real. That's not bad at all. That's the reality, right? But again, this person responded talking about, oh yeah, $64,000 a year is really not much. What world do you live in, bro? Because I'm telling you right now, if you're my age making $64,000 a year, you living pretty good. Now, I mean, I guess that's not the case if you got like some, you know, some hospital bills or something, but like $64,000 a year is a nice, comfortable amount. Yeah, sure, it ain't the richest in the world, but you can live a very nice life off $64,000 a year. You're not going to be like luxury or nothing, but save your money, spend it wisely, and you'll live decently, right? And I responded to that person because I was like, yo, y'all be on the internet just lying, bro. Like, first of all, most people in the United States don't make $64,000 a year. Matter of fact, I'm about to look up like the median salary in the United States. I I just Googled it. Apparently, the median income in the United States is $74,000 a year, and I feel like that's big capping. Now, I may be biased because I live around a lot of people who are not making that much money, right? Maybe that is why I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's right. Because they did, a study of people who were making like $200,000 a year, and those people did not think that they were well off because they lived around other people making similar amounts. So they kind of just thought they were regular, right? So maybe I'm biased because, I live around people who don't make a lot of money, but I don't think $74,000 is the median income in the United States. I feel like that's being skewed by the fact that there are like a lot of people who are multimillionaires, billionaires and stuff, and there's a huge wealth gap in the United States, right? So it's like, okay, the median ends up being 74,000, but like 50% of people are making nothing. And then the other 50% are making 150 something thousand to, average it out. And, so I don't think that's right. But whatever. My point is this though. A lot of people get on the internet and they just be like, again, they just be just painting something that is not the case. Again, if you are a young adult making $64,000, that is pretty darn good, especially in this economy, okay? But the fact that somebody had to come and be like, oh, well, that's really not much. What are you like? Why are you here, bro? You're lying. That's just not the case. Anyway, this is also the honest to God truth. There's a lot of people out here who really is about whatever they're talking about, but most people on the internet are not posting negative aspects of their lives, okay? It's not even about painting an image that's not there. It's just about the fact that, it's the same way, say you walking around in real life, somebody asks, oh, how are you doing? You're usually not going to tell them a bunch of bad stuff unless you like really just about to fall apart and have a meltdown or something. Usually you're going to be like, oh, I'm pretty good, and tell them the positive things that are happening. You're usually not going to tell them a bunch of negative stuff. And it's kind of the same with the internet. Nobody's really posting their failures. They're all posting their successes, right? So it's like you're not lying, but you're also not telling the entire truth. This is an example. I tell you all the time, I have 2 degrees. I got my first degree in biochemistry and molecular biology. I got my second degree in chemical biology, yada, 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 so and so and so. What I very rarely mention is the fact that it took me 5.5 years to get my undergraduate degree. I kid you not. Now, it took most of the people I knew 5 years to get their degree. Honestly, on average, I don't think people get undergraduate degrees in 4 years for the most part, right? But then it took me an extra semester to get my degree. I kid you not. And that was because of, I didn't have a lot of money. I had to work. So most semesters I was going to school part-time, so it took me longer, right? And then also, guess what? Again, I tell y'all, oh, yeah, I got this degree. So what I very rarely mention is the fact that in 2018, I was so depressed about so many things that was going on in life. Guess what? I failed microbiology. I had a flat 0 point in that bitch because I never went to class because I was so depressed. I rarely got out of bed. I had to retake microbiology. Now, maybe it's just me, but I have a tendency to compare like the trajectory of my life to other people's, okay? So like, I'll be like, oh, it took me 5.5 years to graduate. And then I took like 1.5 years off before I went to graduate school. So now, I'm 27. I'm just now starting, to get in my career, yada, yada, yada. If it hadn't taken me all that time to do this stuff, I'd be this much further in what I'm doing, so and so and so, right? And the moment that I found that this was just completely ridiculous, right, is when I was working in this lab under this woman who had a PhD. Mind you, she, first of all, I forget what her PhD was in, but she worked in the biochemistry building. She also worked in a veterinary medical school, because this is at Michigan State, right? And I remember she was doing this. She was like, oh, yeah, like, other people, they got their PhDs earlier, so they just so much further in their research, so on and so, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, are you kidding me? You have a PhD, you have your own lab, you are legit as fuck, and you sitting here comparing yourself to other people? That's when I realized, I was like, wow, this shit really makes no sense, right? So anyway, I'm just saying that for anybody who does get on the internet and compares themselves to people, because it's like, first of all, just don't do that. But then also, people don't post the whole truth of their journey anyway. So it doesn't even matter. Like this woman said, yeah, there are really people on here who really are happy and really are this and really are that. But even those people are not telling you about the negative things they're going through. So that's just the reality.